Imagine eating in restaurants when you have food allergies, looking at the menu and not being able to decipher if something in a menu item might kill you. 9-year-old Addie Lau from Sacramento doesn't have to imagine it. It's her reality, one that she testified on recently at the state capitol, where they're considering SB 68, known as the ADDE Act, Allergen Disclosure for Dining Experiences.
How do you know what they tell you at the end is true? If they're wrong, I won't just get a rash. I could die. I have to trust what they say with my life. There must be a better way.
And joining us live now to talk about the legislation inspired by this 9-year-old, Addie Lau, and her mother, Robin Huey. Addie and Robin, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Addie, you spoke so eloquently and powerfully at the hearing. Which foods are you allergic to, if you don't mind telling us, and what happens when you eat them?
I'm allergic to dairy, peanuts, tree nuts, and sesame. I have to avoid the foods I'm allergic to since it's like poison to my body and can harm me.
Okay. Yeah, can you tell me if that's happened to you before? Is that how you knew?
Yes.
Oh. Like what happens to you if you accidentally eat one of those things? Mom, you can help absolutely if you want.
Breathing, vomiting,
Ooh.
stuff like that.
Okay, those are not good things. And of course, the consequences could be more serious. So, Robin, tell us about this bill and how did it come about?
Yeah, so what we're really trying to do is save lives. So Addie is anaphylactic to her food allergens, meaning it's life-threatening. And so by labeling the top 9 allergens on restaurant menus, this is making it more transparent for customers so they can know how to avoid their allergens and prevent exposure.
So that's what the bill would require, that the top 9 allergens, I assume peanut and some of the things she mentioned, are listed in the menu items. Is that what it is at all restaurants in California?
Correct. Yeah, we're hoping with this legislation, it would apply to all restaurants in California. And we are asking for the top 9 allergens to be labeled, since we know that that covers 90% of reactions for people.
You know, how common are food allergies? I'm sure you've researched this quite a bit.
It's unfortunately on the rise. In California, that's 4 million people, 10% of the population, and that number is only rising. Over the last 2 decades, that number has quadrupled.
Right, and 1 in 13 kids too, right? Addie, do you know other kids at school who have food allergies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a classmate who is,
Allergic to peanuts.
yeah.
Oh, so does that mean like in class that kids can't bring PB&J to class?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you carry an EpiPen or something just in case?
I carry 2 EpiPens to school every day.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sure you're managing it really well, but it's tough. Robin, do disclosure rules, the kind that you're talking about that you want, in this bill to pass, exist in other countries?
Yeah, so it's actually been in the EU for the last decade. So in the US here, we're behind. This is the first piece of legislation in the US to be introduced, asking for mandated labeling. So this is a step forward for the food allergy community to really keep us safe.
So does that exist for packaged foods already in this country?
Yeah, so the FAPCA Act passed, a while ago that mandates the labeling of the top 9 allergens in bold on all packaged foods. And as a food allergy family, this is what we really rely on. It's always being able to double check, making sure ingredients haven't changed.
Yeah.
Before she takes the food.
So since currently they're not required on menu items, what does this mean for your family? Do you try not to go to restaurants, or do you just have extensive conversations with the staff?
Yeah, unfortunately, we often have to do takeout, and then Addie eats food that I prepared for her. Or, food is really just part of all occasions, right? Even with Mother's Day coming up. And so oftentimes I have to pack food that are safe for her, and she's unfortunately just able to maybe eat rice or maybe nothing at all at the restaurant, which is really challenging. And we feel, we don't want to keep her left out. So oftentimes we avoid dining out.
Right. Look, you have 40 organizations supporting SB 68, but there are also opponents like the California Restaurant Association and Golden Gate Restaurant Association. They cite possible cross-contact and ingredient changes leading to maybe a false sense of security when you don't see the allergen on the menu. Also, they talk about added cost and burden, especially on small businesses. What's your response to that?
Yeah, we are really doing this. I wanted to be clear for restaurants because we want to give them business. And I really think that by providing good allergen information, that more customers will come out to dine and partake. We know that 4 million people are affected, but that's family members, partners that are also not going out to restaurants because of their loved one who has food allergies. And in terms of, looking at the data, we've seen that the percent of reactions from just verbal communication alone, which is what we have to rely on, still leads to 80% of reactions. And that goes down to 13% with labeling and still that good communication, which we still plan to have. So no, I don't think there will be a false sense of security because we're still going to have those communication with the staff about cross contact. And we're only asking for labeling of what menu items contain.
Okay, so what's next for this bill?
Yeah, currently it is in Senate appropriations. So we will find out May 22nd if it passes that committee or not. It's not going to be a live hearing. This one is behind closed doors.
So if people want to learn more about this bill, or if they want to find out more about allergies, or if they want to support you or not support you, where do you encourage people to go?
Yeah, so showing it there, addetellsall.com. This is our website and our landing page. We also have a lot of information on our Instagram, AddieTellsAll, so please give us a follow to just follow along and see where it goes.
Addie tells all. I like that. Addie, you tell them. Fantastic. Thank you for coming on to share your story. Keep us posted, will you?
Thank you so much. We will.
All right.